going to be okay. We're here for you.
The doctor looked me straight in the eyes and said 6 words that shattered my world. You will never walk again, ever. I was 28 years old, a marathon runner, a dance instructor, someone who lived in constant motion. And now I couldn't feel anything below my waist. The car accident had crushed my spine in 3 places. The surgery had taken 11 hours. And when I woke up, nothing. Just emptiness where my legs used to be. But that's not the worst part. The worst part came 6 months later when I discovered the accident wasn't an accident at all. Someone had cut my brake lines. Someone had tried to kill me. And when I found out who and why, it changed everything I thought I knew about my life. My name is Elena Rodriguez, and this is the story of how I lost the ability to walk, learned a devastating truth about the people I trusted most, and found a strength I never knew I had. Because here's what they don't tell you about rock bottom. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're really made of. And what I discovered, it was more powerful than I ever imagined. If you want to find out what really happened, and trust me, this twist will blow your mind, hit that subscribe button and drop a like right now. You won't regret it. Let me take you back to the beginning. 6 months before the accident, my life was perfect. At least, that's what I thought. I owned a small dance studio in Portland, Rhythm and Soul. It was my dream come true. Every morning, I'd teach ballet to kids. Every evening, salsa classes for adults. Weekends were for private lessons and community performances. I was engaged to Marcus, 3 years together, wedding planned for October. He was a physical therapist. We'd met when I pulled a hamstring during a half marathon. You need to stretch more, he'd said, working on my leg with those strong, careful hands. You need to mind your business, I'd shot back, laughing. But I'd gone back for more sessions, and eventually for more than just physical therapy. My best friend since childhood, Tessa, was my maid of honor. She worked as a real estate agent and was always trying to convince me to buy property. Elena, you're throwing away money on rent. Let me find you something. I can barely afford my studio lease. A mortgage is out of the question. Life was good, busy but good. And then small things started going wrong. Equipment at my studio would malfunction. The sound system, the mirrors cracking. Nothing major, just inconvenient. My car started having issues. Strange noises, the check engine light constantly on. You need to take this to a mechanic, Marcus kept saying. I will. I'm just so busy right now. I kept putting it off. That decision almost killed me. It happened on a Tuesday. I was driving home from teaching an evening class. It was raining. The roads were slick. I was coming down the hill on Burnside Street, the steep one near the bridge, when I pressed the brake pedal. Nothing happened. I pressed harder. Still nothing. No. I pumped the brakes, pulled the emergency brake. Nothing was working. The car was accelerating, gravity pulling me down the hill. Traffic ahead, red light. I had 3 seconds to make a decision. I could slam into the cars waiting at the intersection, possibly kill someone, or I could swerve. I swerved. The guardrail shattered like paper. My car went airborne. For a moment, just one moment, I was flying, and then nothing. I woke up 3 days later in ICU. Marcus was there. His eyes were red and swollen. You're awake, he breathed. Oh God, Elena, you're awake. What happened? You were in an accident. Your car went off Burnside. You fell 40 feet into the ravine. I tried to move, tried to sit up. Nothing happened. Marcus, I can't feel my legs. His face crumpled. I know.
Elena, I know. The doctors, they said the impact fractured your vertebrae, T10 through 12. They did surgery, but the damage was too severe. What does that mean? He took my hand, squeezed it so hard it hurt. It means you're paralyzed from the waist down. Elena, they're saying it's permanent. The world ended in that moment. Not with a bang, not with drama, just with the quiet realization that the life I'd known, the dancing, the running, the movement that defined me, was over.
The next month was a blur. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, learning how to use a wheelchair, learning how to exist in a body that felt like a prison. Marcus visited every day, brought flowers, held my hand, made promises about how we'd get through this together, but I could see it in his eyes. The future he'd imagined was crumbling. Tessa came too, brought magazines, gossip, tried to make me laugh, but nothing felt real anymore. 2 weeks after I was released from the hospital, a police detective came to see me. Detective Sarah Park, mid-40s, sharp eyes. She sat across from me in my living room and opened a folder. Miss Rodriguez, I've been investigating your accident, and I need to ask you some questions. Okay. When was the last time you had your car serviced? Maybe 6 months ago? Routine oil change. And since then, any mechanical issues? Some weird noises, the check engine light, but nothing serious. She pulled out photos, close-ups of my car's undercarriage. Miss Rodriguez, your brake lines were cut, deliberately, cleanly. This wasn't wear and tear. Someone sabotaged your vehicle. The room tilted. What? Someone tried to kill you. That's impossible. Who would want to? That's what I need to figure out. Do you have any enemies? Anyone who might want to hurt you? I laughed. Actually laughed. I teach dance classes. I help kids learn ballet. I don't have enemies. What about your fiancé? Any issues there? Marcus? No, never. He's been amazing through all of this. What about financial problems, debts, business disputes? My studio's doing fine. I mean, it's not making me rich, but it's steady. Detective Park studied me. What about insurance? Life insurance? Yes, Marcus and I both have policies. We got them when we got engaged. Just in case. How much? I don't know. Marcus handled all that. Maybe $500,000? Standard stuff. Something flickered across her face. Miss Rodriguez, I'm going to need the details of that policy, and I need to ask you, has Marcus been behaving differently lately? Has anything felt off? And that's when it hit me. Small things. Things I dismissed. Marcus insisting I get that life insurance policy just to be safe, babe. Marcus always offering to take my car for service. You're so busy. Let me handle it. Marcus knowing my schedule down to the minute, knowing exactly when I'd be driving down that hill. No, I whispered. No, it can't be, Ms. Rodriguez. He wouldn't. Marcus wouldn't. But Detective Park's expression told me everything. They got a warrant, searched Marcus's apartment, found receipts for wire cutters purchased 3 days before the accident, found searches on his computer, how to cut brake lines, untraceable car sabotage, life insurance payout timeline, and they found something else, text messages between Marcus and Tessa, my fiance and my best friend. Once she's gone, we can be together. Are you sure this will work? Trust me, it'll look like an accident. Then we split the insurance money and start over. I love you. I love you too. Soon. They'd been having an affair for 18 months. 18 months of lies, of betrayal. And when they'd realized they wanted to be together, when they'd realized I was in the way, they decided the solution was to kill me, to cut my brake lines and send me off a cliff, to collect $500,000 and live happily ever after on my corpse. Except I didn't die. I survived, and now they were going to prison. The trial took 8 months. Marcus and Tessa both claimed innocence, said the evidence was circumstantial, that the text messages were taken out of context, but the jury didn't believe them. Guilty. Attempted murder, conspiracy, insurance fraud. 25 years. Each. I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt like justice was served. But I just felt empty. I was alive, but I couldn't walk, couldn't dance, couldn't do the thing that made me alive. The studio had closed. I couldn't teach anymore. The medical bills had eaten through my savings. I was broken in every possible way. And then, 9 months after the accident, something impossible happened. I was in physical therapy, going through the motions, not because I believed it would help, but because my insurance required it. The therapist, a woman named Dr. Patel, was moving my legs, passive range of motion exercises. "How does this feel?" she asked, bending my knee. "It doesn't. I can't feel anything." "Okay, and this?" She pressed on my thigh. I was about to say nothing when, wait, did you just, I felt that. Dr. Patel's eyes went wide. "You felt pressure?" "Yes, do it again." She pressed harder and I felt it. Faint, but real. Oh my God, what does this mean? Dr. Patel was already paging a neurologist. It means the nerve damage might not be as permanent as they thought. It means, Elena, this changes everything. The next 6 months were the hardest of my life. Harder than the accident, harder than the trial, harder than anything. Physical therapy 5 days a week, 4 hours a day, learning to feel again, to move again, to stand. It was excruciating. Every muscle had atrophied. Every nerve had to relearn its purpose. But I did it. 3 months after that first twitch, I stood, with parallel bars and a therapist supporting me, but I stood. 6 months later, I took my first step. 1 year later, I walked unassisted across the therapy room. The doctors called it a miracle, said they'd never seen recovery like this from that type of injury. But I knew the truth. It wasn't a miracle. It was rage. It was determination. It was refusing to let Marcus and Tessa take one more thing from me. They'd taken my trust, my safety, my ability to walk, but they couldn't take my will. I reopened my studio last month. It's different now. I teach adaptive dance, classes for people with disabilities, people who've been told they can't. I show them they can. Because if I can come back from a severed spine, from attempted murder, from complete paralysis, then anything is possible. They told me I'd never walk again, but here's what they didn't know. I'm not just walking, I'm dancing. My name is Elena Rodriguez, and I survived. Thank you for listening to my story. If it moved you, inspired you, or made you believe in second chances, please hit that like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they're stronger than they know. I'll see you in the next one. Keep fighting. This story is a work of fiction created for entertainment purposes. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. All characters and incidents are products of imagination. Thank you for watching.